I eat 30 old school Danny yogurts a day. I said, I just tape my arms, Billy. My arms are 24 inches and I'm bigger than you are. He goes, oh, bullshit. I said, I am. So I sent him a picture. He couldn't believe it. And I was huge back then because all I did was eat and take the gimmick and, all the other stuff to get big. And so he booked me. He said, well, I got a guy named Louis Tillett I'm friends with. Drive to Pensacola and meet Louis. And they were in Panama City that night at a building next to a bowling alley. And I drove up. I walked in the back door. And when I walked in the back door, I stepped in the heel dressing room. And there was Dr. David Schultz, Wayne Ferris, the Honky Tonk Man, Terry Latham, Ricky Fields. I don't know if you know any of these old guys back in the day from the Fuller territory, Ron and Robert Fuller. And they said, hey, kid, you're in the wrong dressing room. So I had to walk around the building and go in the babyface dressing room, which I had no idea, what I was supposed to be. So I went out and I had a match. I hadn't had a match in about a year. And then I started working every night, and I got over it instantly because of the way I looked. I was so tan. I had a full head of hair. I couldn't do anything except do the Austin Idol strongman stuff. But what happened was I found out that all the wrestlers lived in Pensacola, and they lived in a hotel that was right next to Machine Gun Kelly's, a bar. So I started parking my van in the parking lot where the boys stayed, and I slept in my van for about 3 months out in the parking lot.
Shoot.
Yeah, slept in my van, and then I'd run down to the beach, and me and Alpha and Sika, we'd get showers in the public restroom there and hang out and raise hell all day and smoke weed and drink beer, and then we'd go to the towns later that night. But David Schultz found out I was sleeping in my car. So he came up banging, hey, what's in there, boy? What are you gay in there? What are you doing? David's banging on my truck. And he goes, what are you doing out here? I said, I'm just trying to sleep, man. He goes, well, come on in. And so him and the Honky Tonk Man were roommates, and they let me sleep on the floor in the living room.
He's a real interesting guy. But tell me about getting that news going back 10, 15 minutes. You talk about Vince Jr. saying, hey, man, I'm not seeing the red and yellow, man. Maybe it was time to shift gears. And, of course, that was pre-Warrior match when you dropped the title to him. He was the IC champ. You were the world champ, so he's in there celebrating with his belt. You want to take care of the other guy. It's great for him to come out better than he was before the match, but you have to take care of yourself first. And you have. Come on, man.
I know that, but the thing was, and I hate this, sounds like a total ego trip, but bro, that Hulkamania thing got over so strong, I didn't have to worry about that. I just need somebody to dance with.
Oh, I know, but had you just gone out and laid down for everybody, it wouldn't have worked.
No, it'd have been, I'd have been dead,
But anyway, my point is, all of a sudden, you guys have this match. You reel him back in. It is what it is. He roughed up, but you maintain your composure, come through with a stellar match, crowd's going crazy. I mean, I think they would have popped louder had you won, but they popped for him. The thing that stuck out to me was, you kicked out at about 3 1/8, 3 1/4.
Yeah.
That because you were there for the 3 count, but as soon as that referee's hand hit for that, I guess it was Dave.
Yeah.
You kicked out.
Yeah.
And to me, it goes back to old Japan fighting spirit. Yeah. And boy, he beat him, but he barely beat him.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between kicking out at 3/4 and laying there like a dead sack of shit and just saying flat backed 1, 2, 3 and just remain motionless. It kept you alive. And then all of a sudden you're just overcome with disappointment. You look up.
Yeah.
And, dude, you saved yourself. You put the man over to the highest level. You dropped the belt to him in a WrestleMania, but you kept yourself over. Then you walked out. You did the turnaround, and instead of gaffing him and turning heel, you handed him the world championship. You hug him, and you put him over. But to me, that solidified you as still being the man.
Well, that was all, and this is... I guess this is the evil Hulk coming out, which I try not to be, but that was all calculated because Hebner was supposed to hand him the belt, and I knew if I slid out there and grabbed that belt, and I walked up in the apron on the outside and looked at that belt, and looked up at the big man and went, yeah, okay. Then I walked in the ring, and when I handed the Warrior the belt, he's the one that charged me for the hug and said, I love you, and so I went with it. Whoosh, perfect. Now when I leave, and I say, this is the guy. When I leave, I was betting on the people following me going down that aisle. And that's what I was going to give Vince the hard time about. Because you watch that back, when he goes up to celebrate, and I step out of the ring and walk down the aisle, every person in that building is looking down the aisle and watching me. They're not watching him celebrate in the ring. That's when I wanted to turn around. I did it for the money. I wanted to gaff him. I was dying to turn heel. I knew I'd have been white hot, but... Vince had a different opinion.
Love to me, when you walked off, well, and to almost the point of you still being the man, you headlined the next year's WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Against Sergeant Slaughter. And he was before that. It didn't last.
We had A, B, and C towns. Vince was running 3 towns a night. Every time I say this, it sounds terrible. But you can ask the boys that look at their booking sheet to see whose town they're on, Hogan's or Warriors. And
dude, it is what it is.
So if most of the guys look to see if they're on my fucking towns, because if they're on my towns, they made more money. That's just the way it was. And I didn't need the belt. The gimmick was over. Just like you didn't need the belt. The gimmick was over. They sent him off in the direction with the belt with Randy, and they were coming back to me saying, you got to take the belt back. And I didn't want to say I told you so, but if you let me turn heel, I could really get this guy over. But I needed a couple months to get him over, but they wouldn't let me do that because I'm all about getting you or the word up so I can make that paper, bro. That's my deal. And I'm only in this business for one reason. I love it, and I love making the money. Okay, I hate the traveling, I hate all the bullshit, but I just love being in the ring. I love the money, and I just love the business. And so that's what I was trying to do.
Hey, man, I'm going to start shooting from the hip here because I just want to sit there and hang out and drink a few beverages with you and get off microphone.